Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Boobies and Noobies, the podcast that asks novice romance readers to think outside the dick in a box and brave the unbridled world of erotica. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and today marks the second episode and second day of the Boobies and Noobies holiday special, aka the 12 Days of Boobsmas. That's 12 holiday-themed mini-pods all in the month of December. And joining me today for part 2 of the Merry Boobsmas is one of my good friends and fellow Chico State graduates, the absolutely amazing dancer, actress, and just all-around human being, Krystal Elebiary. Welcome to the show, Krystal.
Hi. Thank you. That was an awesome introduction.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's very true. You really are one of the sweetest hearted people I've ever met. Aww. And anybody who has met you would say the same.
Thank you. I try. I love you back, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we've kept this momentum going. Like, it's so nice to be here in LA and, like, rekindle the friendship and get it back. And, like, because it's different when you're, like, in person, you know.
As opposed to, like, you know, messaging somebody on Facebook, sending a text here and there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and this marks... December will be how many months for you in LA? Is that 6 months?
About 4.5.
About 4.5.
Yeah. It feels like a year, though.
It
already feels like a year.
It goes by so quick. I mean, I feel like I've just been living in this apartment for years, and it's been 6 months at this point.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, we're so glad to have you in LA.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. Krystal and I, like I said, go all the way back to our undergraduate days at Chico State.
Yes.
Beautiful Chico, California. And in light of recent news, we definitely want to send our best wishes, hopes, prayers, good feelings to everyone in Chico and Paradise. We love you guys.
Yeah, love you. Stay safe.
But before we get things going, here's a promo for one of our favorite nerdy podcasts, Ghosts of the Stratosphere.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the Ghosts of the Stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, as this is a holiday-themed episode, we will be focusing not just on a Christmas-themed novel or novella, but also on holiday traditions, our favorite recipes, our favorite dirty encounters with Santa, whatever they might be.
Yes.
So, Krystal, what is one of your favorite holiday traditions or memories?
So we're pretty basic. We just get like a lot of good quality time.
Hashtag basic.
Right. But we are also Middle Eastern. So I think by far my favorite tradition is just looking forward to all the fantastic food. Yeah.
What are some examples?
So we're like not at all traditional American meal. Like my grandma, it's a tradition at every holiday meal. She'll bring out like the family favorite recipes. So one dish is called molachaya, and it
just sounds sexy.
It's okay, so that's the Arabic version, and then my white ass mother, who I love, called it swamp slop.
That's
because
fantastic.
It's literally like this gooey, slimy texture that a lot of people just would be
swamp slop.
Yeah, like pretty much like if you put a ladle.
Maybe that's what they call it in the South, too. Maybe they're really making this all over, but it's like, oh, she's talking about swamp slop.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Of course.
Right, yeah. So, potato, really, but...
Nice. But that's cool. I love hearing about how people do different food, different traditions. I know one of my best friends, they do tamales for Christmas, and we do, I guess, like kind of the traditional American Christmas with like usually ham, although we've kind of graduated into doing more of like a Christmas brunch.
Nice.
So instead of having like a big ass ham on the table, it's like scalloped potatoes and ham and like a breakfast casserole with ham. Like
bring it. Oh, bring it. Oh, scalloped potatoes any day of the week. Yes, please.
Do you have a favorite Christmas? Like, can you think back on like a specific Christmas you had that was just like, oh, that was the best one?
I don't know if it was Christmas or Thanksgiving, but early on in our family's history, we would have these big ass reunions, and like all the cousins and the aunts would be there, and like the dudes would be off doing their thing. We would dance, we'd belly dance.
Fun.
And so, those were probably like my most cherished memories, because like we'd get together, the food would be cooking, we're all chilling, we play games, and then at the end of the night, the women would just get up and get it.
I love it. Yeah. Is that where your like love for dance comes from initially?
I think so, yeah. It's
Great.
Definitely in the blood for sure.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, without further ado, we might as well get down to this fabulous book we read today. And today's reading selection, Meet Me in Mayfair by Tessa Dare, one of my favorite authors, actually. I've read several of her books. Meet Me in Mayfair by Tessa Dare, and this comes from the recently released holiday anthology, How the Duke Stole Christmas. This is actually the second novella from this book. We just reviewed the first one, Christmas in Central Park, in our last episode, so if anybody missed that, make sure you check back in with the first day of Boobsmas as well. Yeah. And this book, How the Duke Stole Christmas, was published in October of this year, 2018, just in time for the holidays, and is available on Amazon, $5.99 Kindle edition for the complete 4-story anthology. Let's start with your background with romance and romance novels.
Yeah.
So before reading Meet Me in Mayfair, had you read a romance novel or novella before?
The one that came to mind, I think the last one I had read was like The Notebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a couple years.
This has become a common thing on this show is we have realized that if anybody has read romance, it's been either Nicholas Sparks or 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
It's
There's
like
no in between.
Nothing in between. So I am here to give you something in between the two.
Yeah, no, I was quite surprised. I mean, I liked it. I think her style of writing, like the flow was really easy. I read a lot of chemistry, and it wasn't forced, you watch those Hallmark movies and then it's all of a sudden it flips and it's like, and we're in love.
Well, I think that's hard to do too, especially in a novella. Like you have half the amount of time, if not less, of a normal novel to make these people fall in love and have it still be relatively realistic.
Realistic, yeah, definitely.
Had you ever thought about reading another romance novel, like besides The Notebook?
This definitely kind of like opened the door again for me, just into reading in general and just more like casual reading. Because I usually go for like self-help books, like financial advice or adulting.
The stuff that you actually learn something from that you can apply to your life.
Just to kind of feel better about, this very tough challenge of
Got
life.
It. So you don't typically read fiction or, romance in general?
I did growing up. I did, but these days, not so much. But it definitely was like, I should start doing this again. And this was the whole aim, too, just being in SoCal. It's like, on my day off, let's go to the beach, bring a book, let's go, put in 8 hours, and
Where did you read this one? Not at the beach, right?
No, I read this one in the comfort of my own home. Yeah, in bed, with obviously, lighting and...
Mood lighting.
Yes, the mood lighting.
Meet Me in Mayfair lighting.
Yeah.
If I could read this anywhere, it would be, and this is not an option in Southern California, but it would be at like a cafe with hot chocolate while it's snowing
like
outside.
in Yosemite Park, you know? Or
God, it would be so perfect. I mean, it's like chilly out for Southern California right now, but that's like 70 degrees.
Right,
like, it's not the same.
No.
And she's painted this beautiful image of this like snowy, you know, landscape in London. Like, I wish.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It definitely made me anticipate me being in my feels this holiday season.
Oh,
you know, it's my first year like not being in the cold or snow, and I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be tough, but I'll live vicariously through
it is a tough, I mean, it's a tough transition. Is just, you know, how do you celebrate the holidays somewhere where it's never gonna feel temperature wise or look like the holidays. Like, I get it. Coming from Chicago, that was one of my biggest changes is, you know, in Chicago, the minute it hits November, it's snowing. There's lights on every street. There's ice skating. It's one of my favorite. I mean, I know anybody who's listening in the Midwest or Northeast is like, you are high off your ass. Like, I would much rather live in the heat of Southern California. But I really loved that time between November and December. It was just beautiful.
Yeah. No, I hear you, for sure.
Well, so everybody has an idea of this novella that we're talking about. Let me give you the brief Amazon synopsis. And once again, this is Meet Me in Mayfair by Tessa Dare. Louisa Ward needs a Christmas miracle. Unless she catches a wealthy husband at the ball tonight, the horrid, heartless Duke of Thorndale will evict her family from their beloved Mayfair home. But when her friend begs to switch dance cards, Louisa finds herself waltzing with the enemy, the horrid, heartless, and unexpectedly handsome Thorndale himself. Now the Duke's holding her future in his hands, and he's not letting go. Ooh. I like that phrase, waltzing with the enemy.
Yes! I have to keep that one in the pocket. Man.
Yeah, I know. No, and you know what? I think sometimes we've read these descriptions and then read the book and then gone back and read the description, and I feel like they don't match at all. But I think that's a pretty accurate
that's pretty
description.
Solid, yeah.
And this is a good synopsis in that it doesn't give everything away. Like, it really just sets up that these two people meet at this dance. And they each have their own agenda. Like, the end. So let's talk about overall impressions, what you liked and did not like about the book. So how about some positives? What did you like about the book?
Like I said earlier, I really did pick up on the chemistry. I thought it was very natural. I anticipate, you know, that aspect being forced most of the time. And it was just kind of like, it was happening and it's like, okay, no, I can buy that. Like, you know, and I definitely loved Luisa's, like, sass and bite.
Oh my gosh, me too.
She was getting it. Like, as I was reading, I was like, I would love to play this part. Like, please make this a movie. Like, I could
By the way, this was the second story, right, from this book we've read. And both of them feature amazingly strong female characters who have no issue speaking their mind. In fact, one of Louisa's first lines she says is her family is saying, you have to go to this ball and basically find yourself a husband to save the family home. And she's like, I don't see this working out well because I have a problem when it comes to speaking my mind in that I say exactly what I want and most men are not attracted to that.
Very Mulan.
It really was like, you know, very cool Disney princess, but like the new generation of Disney princesses that don't give a fuck. Yeah, I really did like her character a lot.
Yeah, and I liked the Duke too, you know. He was very, like, you could see, I mean, I picked up on, like, the fight, you know, of, like, giving in, but then, you know, also
the horrid, heartless, and unexpectedly handsome Duke.
So gold.
Oh my gosh. Gold. Oh no, but he's like, just call me James.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Not proper, but just call me James. No, you're right. I think Tessa Dare sets them both up very clearly. You know each of their stakes from the very beginning, which as a writer is important to me. Like, what does she want? What does he want? How are those going to collide? And it's very clear. Like, she needs a husband to basically get money so she can keep this house because he is trying to take it. He doesn't know that it's her house or that he's even trying to take it. But at the same time, he has this whole complex that since he's recently inherited this dukedom, all these women are throwing themselves at him.
And he don't want no basic bitch.
Nuh-uh. So then, of course, when he finds out who Louisa is, he immediately thinks that... I mean, it's predictable in the way that, like, you know what the fight is going to be. You know where the problems are going to arise. But that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, when it all played out, it was also like, okay, no, I can feel it. Because, like, at the end of the day, you know, once you get in the feels, man... you gotta ride that train.
And you know what? I feel like with a holiday book, or even movie, Hallmark show, you know, whatever it is, that's all I'm looking for. I want the feels.
Yeah.
I want the good holiday feels. And this was one of those books where, or just novella, I don't want to say book because it's very short. It's only like, 100 pages?
Oh, yeah.
But in that 100 pages, you can kind of buy into the fact that they do not even necessarily fall in love, but that they're interested in each other and want to pursue something. Because I did love that at the end, it wasn't like, oh, I love you, marry me right now. It's because they spend one night walking the streets of Mayfair together, and how cute is that? But at least we don't have to, you know, buy into them like getting engaged immediately.
Yeah.
So it's a happy ending, but it doesn't have to be a forced happy ending. I really like the walk home. Like it's kind of like one of those like impromptu dates where you don't even mean it to be a date, and then it just ends up being like the best date ever.
Yeah. I was like, go Louisa, when she threw out the whole, oh, well, you know, I haven't given you my address, so you will walk with me, actually, because you have no idea where we're going. I was like, yes, queen, get it.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, she convinces him to walk her home. He offers to walk her home from this dance they've gone to.
She's like, oh, no, please don't, but thank you. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, well, if you're going to... you know, let me at least convince you that London is not the piece of shit you think it to be. And she gives him this cute little, like, midnight stroll tour through the snow of Mayfair. And, you know, what I like, too, that they argue with each other along the way. It's very, like, flirtatious, but also, you know, at least they each have their own mind.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What else? Anything else you liked?
I think that covers it. I just really liked both characters.
Same.
And the interactions and the language of the book, you know, it just read, you know, it was really easy, but it was awesome and smooth and buttery. And
Buttery. I like that. That's a good
Thanks.
adjective. One of my favorite things about reading books that take place in another time is the festivities that they have. So the fact that I'm obsessed with this idea of the dance card, and I've read this in so many books, and
really?
that they have their dance card, and it was funny because he even has a line in the book where he's like, it's not fair. The women get a card that we have to like sign up for dances with them, right?
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to just memorize who I'm supposed to be dancing with. And he's like, he has like a cheat sheet on his sleeve.
Yes.
I thought that was like really fun. It's something that like maybe if you don't read romance novels, it wouldn't really matter to you. But if you do, it's kind of like this funny like tip of your hat nod to, you know, one of the tropes that's in romance novels. So I thought that was kind of poking fun at itself, and I liked that.
Apparently that's where the punch card established itself, you know. Now you go to Starbucks with your dance card and you get free coffee.
And it's not even a card anymore, it's an app.
I know, right? Yeah, or your phone number.
This is my dance app. Can you scan it, please?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it was great, but I'm sure you have a few negatives, potential improvements. What were some of the things that you maybe did not love as much about this story?
Well, personally, no matter what the book is or what I'm reading, my pet peeve, editing hiccups. So I noticed that there are a lot of like, I mean, not a lot, but there are definitely maybe like 3 or 4 just little typos. And so I was like, oh, come on now, get it together, Chuck.
I know. It's so funny because that didn't stand out to me, but it's also not something I look for, too.
Right,
so, unless it's, like, so glaring that you're like, what?
Yeah, no, there was only one hiccup where it was like, okay, wait, what? But, I mean, you could always like figure it out. You know, it's not something that, you know,
we'd like to think that the editors and publishers are like mostly doing their jobs.
Yeah, for sure. But that stood out. And then other than that, I was a little disappointed because I didn't get this gnarly, you know, hella inappropriate but beautiful sex scene.
Yeah. I know. That was and okay, so my two negatives that I have, I think both go back to the fact that it's a short story. And one of them is that there's absolutely zero sex in this story. Well, okay, we'll say there's like a little
there's like a tenth, like a fifth, like a quarter.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like I don't know, like at the end they do get married in like a, you know, flash forward to like the year later or whatever. Yeah. And it's like their wedding night. But even then I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. She gave us the wedding night so we can see them fuck.
Yeah,
okay, like,
let's go.
But even then it's like, and then he made love to me and it hurt, but then it was wonderful, and then it's over. Yeah. And you're like,
yeah. What you doing?
I know. And you know what? We did review one book for this podcast where there was only one sex scene, and it was at the very end of the book. But that was like a 300 to 400 page novel. Okay. This one,
you'd earn it.
This one, I was okay with there not being any sex. Like, obviously, I think it could have been there, and they have that really kind of hot moment in the snow on their way home, and for a minute I was like, oh my god,
here we go.
Are they gonna do it in the snow? God. But you know, reality sets in and they don't. But then I was expecting there to be, you know, maybe something at the end, but I do understand that because it is a short story, maybe that's not an option.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not a bad worst case scenario, you know? Like, it was still solid. I still loved it.
I still enjoyed it too. Yeah, like, without that, which, and there have been ones where you're just like, I'm waiting. Like, where is it? I didn't feel like that with this one.
Right. Yeah, no, it's very smooth.
Yeah. It helps that it takes place in like one night, because if it was over a period of time, then I think you'd be kind of like thinking about it. But yeah, one night, it's okay if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's accurate.
I guess my other complaint sort of goes along with that is when they do have their little, like, misunderstanding near the end, he, you know, flips out and leaves. And then it's like the next morning and he just comes right back over and, like, patches things up. And he's like, oh, I wanted to come back over last night, you know, and it seemed very quick. But again, I'm like, oh, this is the point where you should be, like, wrapping up this book.
Yeah,
so
you have to,
It's one, though, where I don't know if it would work as a full novel, just because it is, I guess it could, like, if you stretched out this story of, like, how her family's losing their house and everything, and he comes to town to visit, and then he thinks she's, like, tricked him into getting married. I mean, I've read books like that before, but I think it worked well for the short story format.
Yeah, I don't feel like there was any unnecessary moments or stretched or.
That's impressive. Like to fit everything in.
Every page was needed, I feel like.
Nothing felt like a waste. She went straight, you know. I mean, you know what the problem is in the first page. And then you go to the dance. And then I guess the only thing that I think you could maybe cut down on a little bit is just sort of their date, like getting out of the dance, walking home, you know, getting to her house. Like, maybe you could cut that a little bit and then spend more time towards them boning. But you don't have to.
Well, and she could have even embellished the other relationship as well, you know, her best friend.
Oh, and that's a good point.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because they weren't supposed to be together. I mean, that could be a whole nother book there.
That's a great point, is that her friend, the reason she takes her friend's dance card and ends up dancing with the, you know, evil Duke or whatever, is that her friend runs off to elope with this other guy.
Yeah, and it's the son of her father's, like, the guy that does the landscaping.
Yeah,
the house
he's like,
it's
very romance. She runs off with the gardener. But yeah, you're right. That could have been, or maybe even more with her family. Like, we could have seen more with her family. Yeah, very, like, kind of Pride and Prejudice sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I was happy with it.
Yeah,
This is
I really
one that I
liked
would
it.
recommend. I feel like the things we're picking out that we didn't like about it are... It was almost like I had to force myself to pick something that I didn't like.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, yeah.
Now, since this book has a tremendous lack of sex, it's made our sexcerpt portion of the show very difficult. However, we do still have some sexcerpts that we are prepared to read. I don't know if you can call them sexcerpts. I think it's more of, you've got one that's actually some sex from the story.
Yeah.
You want to set that up for us?
Yeah, basically they have wrapped up the night. Well, not even wrapped up. She's like, dude, I gotta go from the ball. And so he's agreeing to take her home so that she doesn't have to travel by herself. So they are on their way to find his coachman and his horse to take her home. And he's only used to seeing his coach.
Yeah, he's only used to seeing his coach so
by
that
itself.
Because there's so many of them there. He's like, I don't know which one's mine.
Right, yeah. So they get a little confused in the line, and then they finally find it. And he opens up the door, and a little surprise. It's happening. So they walk towards the door, and I'll just read the rest.
Go for it.
So, unfortunately, the driver was nowhere to be found. Where's the coachman? She asked. God knows. Annoyed, James set his jaw. I'll go in search of him. Wait in the coach. You'll be warmer inside. He reached for the door latch and flung it open, preparing to hand Miss Ward into the cab. However, when he pulled the door open wide, they were met with a startling sight. A bare arse humping enthusiastically between a pair of fleshy female thighs. Close the bloody door, the humping arse's owner shouted. I told you, you'll have your turn at her next. Beneath him, the unseen woman moaned with fiend delight. Ooh, come to me, you magnificent stag.
Oh, that's my favorite part, is that line.
Yes. James shut the door. Good God. He blinked at his hand on the door latch, not knowing how to look at Miss Ward.
Oh. You know when you want to take someone home and you open up the car at valet and really the valet driver is fucking a prostitute?
Getting it.
That happens to me all the time. Oh.
LA, get it together.
Right? Oh, that's so fun. I mean, but really, that's like the raunchiest scene in the story.
Yeah,
like,
no, yeah.
I have, they do, have sex at the end when they get married, but they don't really talk about it. I actually have this other scene, and this is when they kiss and kind of roll around in the snow. And I found this to be much hotter.
Yeah.
And it goes, she pressed her lips to his, and he took the invitation. And then, God forgive him, he began to take more. He trailed kisses down her neck. He let his hands stray, vowing to himself he'd rein them in the moment she stiffened or pulled away. She didn't pull away. As he drew his hand down her spine, her breath caught. Then her breathing resumed, quicker than before, and hot against his lips. Her fingers dug into his shoulders as he slid his hand upward, grazing the side of her breast. Then he moved his hand between them, cupping her breast in his palm, warming her flesh and soothing her hardened nipple. Desire had him stiff and aching. I like this part too. It's like in italics, so it's his inner monologue. You are a beast, like a wolf pouncing on a snow white hare.
God, it's so good.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I found like their makeout much hotter than any of the actual sex that isn't being had anyway.
Yeah.
Going along with that, our last little thing we'll do to wrap up the novel before we have some Christmas activities, we're going to give the book a grade. We're actually going to give the book 3 grades. It's going to be out of 10, 10 being the very best, a grade for story, a grade for syntax, and a grade for the sexcapades.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so there you go. So do you want to start with story?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd give it an A. I didn't feel gypped with the story at all. I thought the choices were solid and
Yeah.
it was smooth. And
So out of
I
10?
liked it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you said 10. That's
I mean,
fine.
an A is great,
Yeah,
too. But
yeah,
so
yeah.
out of 10,
Out of
I mean...
10, I'd give it a 10.
Yeah, I actually gave it a 10, too.
Yeah,
I said the story is simple, it's straightforward, it's... You know, it's the right amount of predictable, but
Yeah.
not too predictable. So
And it wasn't cheesy, and it wasn't like...
No.
Okay,
Yeah, so 10 A, 2 thumbs up, any way you want to put it.
Yeah.
How about syntax? So in terms of Tessa Dare's writing.
I'd give it like a 9.5. I would do the 10, but you know, there were some typos
It's
in
those
there,
typos?
you know,
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I really liked the language and the flow of it. It was pretty, like I said, like smooth, you know, so. Yeah,
I gave it a 9.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
9,
I gave it a 9. I feel like the only reason I kind of graded it down was that there were like a couple things I felt like could be a little shorter, a couple things I felt like could be a little longer, but no, I mean, solid book, like start to finish. Here's the tough one. What do you grade this book for the sexcapade?
Fucking 1! No. Maybe a 2.
I know, yeah. I think I put down a 3, but I said, can we grade this?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I mean, it's not fair. It just wasn't there. But I feel like if she inserted it, it'd be pretty hot. I have faith in her, you know?
But at the same time, because like I told you, we had read a book where there was only one sex scene, and I gave it a 1. But I enjoyed this one more because I felt like it's not that it was missing any sex. Like, it could have had it and it would have been great. You're right. I feel like I've read Tessa Dare before, and I'm sure her sex scenes would be super, super hot.
She just didn't want us to have it. She left it for them.
She's like, it's a short one. Yeah. Like, you know, just keep them coming back for more.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I'm not sure if even giving this book a grade for sexcapades is even fair, but what there is, I'm going to give a 3.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Thrusting coachman.
What is it? His bare arse?
Bare arse.
Yes, because it's England.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So overall, were you happy with the experience of reading not even a romance novel, but just a romance novella?
Yeah, I liked it. It definitely rekindled that aspect, you know, of my reading. Yeah, I was like, okay, we gotta get back in this action. And it's like the perfect time to do it, you know? Like,
I know.
Even 1 a week or whatever for the next couple months. Get
perfect. Well, holidays. And you bought the book, so you've got 3 more short stories in there that you could read.
Yeah, might as well.
So does that mean that you might, in the future, read some more romance?
I think so. I mean, in my downtime, I watch a lot of relationship shows.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Okay.
And, like, there's also a new one, this really successful black couple, I guess, who are like behind the scenes. I don't really know the couple, I didn't recognize them, but they interview, I mean, a bunch of celebrities, and like they get honest, and anywhere from like basketball player to the actors and stuff. And I just really like, I don't know, I really like the intimacy of finding out what works for other people.
Well, and
like,
it's interesting because you said that
journeys.
you normally read nonfiction, self-help and stuff. So it seems like even when you watch romance, a lot of it is real couples, real relationships and everything. So you definitely like that real life going on.
Get it? Yeah, but I think it's cool to also have some fun in there.
Yeah.
Lighthearted.
Well, if you ever need the escape from the real life, you've got romance novels and Hallmark Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Which have kicked off, and I am so excited. So we've got a couple things left to do, and now that we've finished talking about the book, it's now time to dive back into the holiday and Christmas spectacular season.
Yes.
I always like to play a little game, activity, something with my guests that, you know, maybe it has some sort of relationship to the book. And in this story, one of the questions that Louisa asks James during their little impromptu date, walk home in the snow, is a classic what if question. If you were stranded on a deserted island, what are the 3 items you would bring with you? And I also like that in this version, she clarifies to him, because he gives the typical, like, dude answer. I'd bring food, water, and women. Like, it's like those people that are like, if you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for? I'd wish for 3 more wishes. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
And so she clarifies, she says, you already have food and water. Like, that's not even a problem.
Yeah.
So, Krystal, we'll put Luisa's question to you.
Yeah.
If you were stranded on a deserted island and you could bring 3 things with you, what would they be?
So I'm already cheating on the first one.
Oh my god, how?
Because I'm going to bring my village, and so I know that doesn't count as one, but in a unit form it does.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
So my village, my friends, my family, my boo thing.
Okay.
Whoever wants to come, because
they're coming to the island with you.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to be stranded, but you got me, so,
I mean, as long as you're willing to share your food and water, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, and then I'll just start eating them when I run out, It's fine, whatever.
Perfect. So this is like
more
twofold.
strategy. Exactly. Yeah, really. Now you're catching on to my game. No.
Love it. Love it.
So definitely my village, and I think some books.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Some books? That sounds like more than one thing. Like, maybe you get a book.
A fat, humongo collection of hella books.
You're cheating so much. Although I'm with you, because one of my things would be my Kindle, and my Kindle has
there you go.
a zillion books
I'll
in
bring
it.
my cell phone.
Yeah.
With no way to charge it after it dies.
Or service.
And then I think just like workout equipment.
Okay. So you're going to stay fit while hanging out with people who you may or may not eat.
Yes.
While also reading.
Yes. Keeping the mind active.
Okay. No, that's good. Active body, active soul,
mind,
active mind.
Just
okay.
hitting it.
I get it. God.
Did you want to answer?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said, my Kindle or phone, like something to read things on would be great. Although I feel like if I was going to do that, I'd have to be like, and a never-ending battery.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
What else? I would bring a coffee maker if I could also guarantee that, like, as part of my food supply, I would also have coffee.
Coffee beans.
Yeah.
Chilling on the island.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be great. And then, I mean, if you have food and you have water, it's hard because I just think of it as a practical thing. I'm like, I feel like I'm going to need soap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or clothes. Like, I could even go without the clothes. I would be fine without the clothes as long as everyone smelled okay. So if I could have, like, some sort of soap or shampoo or just something to keep moderately clean. And you know what? Even if I was there by myself, I don't even care. I need to smell okay for myself. Like, I would hate the smell of me after a while.
No, I hear you on that, dude. But, like, banana deodorant, let's go.
Pack up and go.
Yeah, we totally forgot alcohol, dude. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. Schnapps all the way.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now it's time for the fabulous part of the show where we give away a blind date with a book to one of our fabulous listeners. And so today's winner was taken from a Facebook submission, and they're going to be taking home a blind date with a book that Krystal has picked out for us. Yeah. Krystal, why don't you read the fabulous description for this blind date with a book?
He's been a bad rake. She's the governess that will teach him a lesson.
Ooh. I mean, if that's not enough to get you hooked and submit for the next giveaway, I don't know what is. And drum roll, please, our winner today, Krystal!
Yes!
Krystal, coming in from Chico, California.
It happens to be my bestie.
I know. We didn't even plan it that way either. I picked a winner randomly this morning, and it happened to be Krystal, and I knew that it was meant to be.
On my episode.
Yes. Yes. Thanks for listening to Boobies and Noobies. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Boobie Podcast. Krystal, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
It was super fun. I'm so glad we renewed your love interest for romance. And to everyone else listening, Merry Christmas, and to all a good dicking.
Yes.
And now the part I know you've all been waiting for. On the second day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me 2 nipple clamps. Take it away, Cooper.
On the second day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me 2 nipple clamps and a hot hookup underneath the tree.